The sea does not speak, but sometimes it answers. January 1988. 6 months after the Estrela do Sul was found adrift, the Portuguese Navy quietly reopened the investigation. Officially, it was to complete the analysis of recovered materials. Unofficially, it was because of something far stranger. New signals had been detected. They came from the same coordinates where the ship had been found. Faint radio transmissions, all sharing the same peculiar signature, short bursts of static, followed by what sounded like a man's voice. The first signal was intercepted on January 5th, 1988, at exactly 04:17 a.m., the same time the stopped clock had shown in the captain's cabin. Radio operator Antonio Marques, stationed on File Island, later testified. At first I thought it was interference, but there was rhythm to it. There was voice. Portuguese, northern accent. The only words I could make out were, "Day 5. Don't go past day 5. The tape was immediately classified, confidential, level 3, and sent to the Naval Communications Center in Lisbon. In February, Lieutenant Eduardo Ramos, a communications specialist, was assigned to analyze the recordings. During playback, Ramos noticed something that defied technical explanation. The voice wasn't echoing through air. It was reverberating as if recorded underwater. When he compared the waveform patterns, he discovered a consistent cycle, 5-second intervals between bursts, and with each repetition, the sound grew slightly louder, as if something was approaching. His preliminary report read, "Probable source, coordinates 34° N, 40° W. Estimated depth, indeterminate. Acoustic reflection is vertical. The signal appears to be rising from below." The report was filed. 3 days later, Lieutenant Ramos was reassigned without explanation, and the investigation was abruptly suspended. Ramos continued to work on the tapes privately. He believed the signal was coded. By analyzing the intervals between pulses, he tried to convert them into Morse code. The translation, according to notes later found in his apartment, produced one chilling message. "He has returned." Weeks later, Ramos vanished. His car was discovered parked near the docks in Lisbon. Inside the glove compartment was a broken cassette tape and a sealed Navy envelope. Its contents were never revealed. Meanwhile, Commander Miguel Afonso, who had led the 1987 recovery mission, began to deteriorate mentally. Colleagues reported erratic behavior, insomnia, paranoia, and a growing fear of the sea. He often claimed he could hear the radio working, even when it was turned off. In a handwritten letter found after his death, Afonso wrote, "Every night I dream of the ship, motionless, the sea dead calm, no wind, no sound, and beneath the hull I hear breathing, not waves, breathing." In April 1988, Afonso was found dead in his home. The cause, heart failure. But the autopsy revealed something unexplainable, traces of crystallized sea salt inside his lungs with no sign of water. Over the next few months, new transmissions were picked up by civilian radio operators. Each began with static, followed by a faint, broken voice. But one recording stood out. Captured in May 1988, it lasted nearly a full minute, the longest to date. Restored by the Lisbon Oceanographic Institute, the partial transcript read, "This is Estrela do Sul. Repeat, Estrela do Sul. Crew missing. The sea is breathing. Day 5. The voice was analyzed and compared to old recordings of Captain Amaro dos Santos. Experts refused to confirm a match. The file was logged as DOC LSB 1988-214 and sealed indefinitely. 4 years later, in September 1992, a Spanish fishing vessel reported sighting a large, dark ship drifting near the Canary Islands. The hull was partially covered in algae, the name almost unreadable. One of the crewmen swore he saw the word Sul. The fisherman recorded an audio statement on cassette shortly after returning to port. In the background, wind and static, and the trembling voice of the captain. It didn't move. The sea around it was alive, like it was breathing. I thought it was junk, until the radio turned on by itself, and someone said, "The captain has come home." The tape was handed to the Spanish Coast Guard. Its whereabouts remain unknown. In 1995, researchers from the U.S. Oceanographic Institute detected low-frequency sounds in the Sargasso Sea. The signals were steady, rhythmic, resembling breathing patterns. The phenomenon lasted 4 nights. On the 5th, the sounds abruptly stopped. All recording devices failed simultaneously. The final tape, recovered from one malfunctioning sensor, captured a faint, distorted phrase beneath the static. Day 5. The origin was traced to the same coordinates where the Estrela do Sul had vanished. For more than 2 decades, the case lay dormant. Then, in February 2019, a French radio amateur named Jean Morel picked up an unexpected transmission on a decommissioned maritime frequency. The signal lasted 5 seconds. Through the noise, a single voice, hoarse, broken, human, could be heard. "This is Captain Amaro dos Santos, requesting permission to return to port." 2 independent listening stations confirmed the same coordinates, 35 in, 39 in, the heart of the Sargasso Sea. Within a week, the recording was handed over to the French Navy. It has never been released to the public. Nearly 40 years after the Estrela do Sul disappeared, the case remains officially classified as Maritime Incident, Cause Unknown. No one has been able to explain the transmissions, the echoes, or the voices. But some radio operators still claim to hear strange signals on quiet nights, bursts of static, faint rhythms, and sometimes a whisper. Day 5. No wreckage has ever been recovered. No bodies ever found. Some believe the ship was pulled into an underwater current. Others think the sea simply took back what was always its own. But there are those who insist the Estrela do Sul still sails, unseen, caught between the waves and time itself, endlessly repeating the same 5 days, waiting for someone to answer the call. To be continued. Part 4. The Captain's Last Transmission.